In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to get jacked as a foodie, a food lover. Specifically, I'm going to show you how to eat your favorite foods, continue to eat your favorite foods to achieve a transformation like this, and then stay like this year round. And the whole process should take only a couple months. And just so we don't make this a pie in the sky conversation, I'm going to show you exactly what I did for my client, Brendan. Here he is on the left before we started working, and then here he is on the right, flexing on our asses. And I'm just going to walk you guys step by step through exactly what I did for him. So really sit down, pay attention, and take some notes. This is what I do for all my clients and what I did for myself. Now, before we dive into this, the word healthy, the word get in shape, there's so much overwhelm and so many different words on the internet right now about what does it mean to be healthy, what to do, fad diets. So I want to set the context here. Who is this for? Right? This is not for everyone. This is for working professional dudes, 25 and up. This is for guys that want to look like the classic V-taper, right? There's so many different ways their bodies can look. Chubby, skinny, fat dudes, guys that have struggled with discipline around the good foods of life, right? Burgers, pizza, ice cream. And this isn't your first rodeo, right? You guys have tried to restrict yourselves in the past, but then you end up inevitably caving, and then you binge when the diet gets hard, and then you gain the weight back. And ultimately, food is a source of comfort for you. But because you fight that about yourself, it manifests as a yo-yo diet. So what I'm going to show you guys is how discipline and willpower literally are just not going to work. And actually how, if you embrace who you really are, you can use food as a very powerful self-driving force to help you keep the weight off for life. I know it might not make sense at this point. It might seem too good to be true, but I'm just going to show you what we did for Brendan, and then you can decide for yourself. Now, a little bit about me. Who the hell is this guy? Well, first of all, I've been where you've been, all right? I love food. I have always loved food, and my body kind of showed it. And I ended up becoming jacked in the process, and now I've stayed 8% year-round. I mean, I don't know how many people literally do photo shoots with McDonald's. I grew up eating this stuff my whole life. This is me at IHOP at 8% body fat, just pigging the fuck out. I don't want to swear. Okay. Also, a little bit about me. Back in 2022, I won a viral dating show against 100 dudes, and the commentary in the video was like, I was this jacked Terminator. So obviously the charisma helped me win, but I will definitely say that my confidence and who I was being, a lot of it contributed to me being able to build myself up. I wasn't always this big, by the way. A year later, I got invited, this was a dream opportunity, on a game show with Jimmy Fallon and John Hamm on a game show called Password. And once again, they had me pinned as the jacked, fun person that everyone can kind of relate to. So once again, they literally fitted me in the dressing room before I got on stage, and everything about the experience, a lot of it had to do with my physique. And then the next year, I got on a stage with Dean Graziosi. This is Tony Robbins' right-hand man, a guy that's changed my life. He invited me on stage talking in front of thousands about the value of body transformation. And as business owners, we know our body is our resume. It's a walking resume. And once I transformed myself, I've applied the same strategies, not only for Brendan, but for a lot of these dudes. This is Michael, we got Max, we got Jake, we got another Michael, two Michaels here. And I'm not saying these things to brag. I'm saying these things to say, I never knew when these opportunities were going to come. I wasn't waiting for a dating show. I wasn't waiting for this moment with Jimmy Fallon and John Hamm. In fact, I didn't know this stuff was going to happen. But the fact that I was able to have a body and keep this body for the last 6 years because I loved it as a lifestyle, and I'll show you later in the presentation, I'm able to eat my favorite foods year round. When these opportunities presented themselves, I was able to act on them. So it's very important. Let's set the context here. This isn't about just losing 30 pounds. This is about staying beach body ready for any experience that might show up. Now, I want to eliminate some myths. In this video, there's no fad diets. You don't have to do keto. You don't have to do fasting. You don't have to do cardio. And this is the killer one. There's no extra time, okay? Now, I studied computer science. I have 8 years of experience lifting. And even for me, I spent 8 years doing this shit. And it worked. I'm not saying it doesn't work. But I'm saying for those of you that feel like you need to do these things to see progress, it's not true. And so I'm going to show you exactly what I did that didn't involve any of them. So you can just skip all my pain and just get straight to the winning. Okay? All right. So first of all, the thing about these diets is they don't actually work. I know I said they work. And I want to be very specific here, guys. They work for 6 months, and then they don't. Then you start gaining the weight back. So first thing we got to do is we got to redefine our criteria of success. When we say we want to lose 15 pounds, that's not actually what we want. I made this mistake to myself. I'll share a little story in a bit. Doesn't this sound a little more like what some of us might want? I want to lose and keep 15 pounds off for the rest of my life and enjoy the foods I love. If we're not specific with the criteria of success, this is the first key point, then when we will get what we ask for, and when we don't ask for specifics, then we get all the implied. So if you just say, I want to lose 15 pounds, okay, great. You lost it. And then you're hungry, restrictive, you're miserable, and then you gained it back. You didn't specify you wanted to keep it off, right? So remember, if we look at this at a macro level, business owners, professionals, guys, this is the same way we run our businesses. This is the same way we run our life. It's no different. We have to be very specific with what we want. And so this isn't just a weight loss goal. This is a body transformation, right? And a transformation really is a transformation. When I would do these for 8 years, I do a fad diet, very restrictive, spin class. I did it for 6 months. Hated the process. And eventually it was so unsustainable. I never really reflected. I never looked back. And guys, ask yourself the question when you're going through this right now, watching. When you did one of these pushes, you did a fad diet, did you ever reflect? Did you learn something in the process about yourself? Or did you just learn, oh yeah, maybe I can't do this thing? Are you building the evidence that you can't actually accomplish this thing? Or are you actually learning what you really need to be successful? Guys, it's so much easier than you realize. So much easier, right? And if I didn't break out of this negative cycle, if I didn't realize I can eat my favorite foods, if I didn't start asking myself the questions of how can I eat my favorite foods? Because ultimately it won't work if I don't make this fun. If I keep relying on discipline, I'm going to screw up. Then I'd still be working my 9-to-5 desk job. I'd be hating my life every day. I'd come home fatigued and I'd feel trapped. And then I'd binge eat and then I'd feel bad about myself the next day. Guys, the reason I'm making videos like these is because I don't want you to be in the same negative cycle I was in. And if you are in that cycle, you can get out right now. Okay? The other problem with these fitness diets and trends is they live on the currency of time. But guys, we don't have much. Have you noticed? We don't have much time. We're so busy. We got meetings. We got family. We got commitments. No one I've talked to is like, dude, I love just going to the gym and meal prepping. But it's things that we feel like we have to do because what else is there to do? So when I worked with Brendan specifically, this was his schedule when we started. All right? He didn't have much time. And if he didn't see the results, and if he didn't feel excited about the results, what do you think is the first thing he would cut from his schedule? He would cut the training. So getting in shape is linked to a lot of time. It's a complete lie. All right? You don't need crazy genetics. You don't need to spend 4 hours in the gym every day. More hours does not equal better shape. Okay? Pay attention. At the end of this, you will know exactly what I mean by that. And really, ask yourself the question, how many hours do you actually have each day to become the man you've always dreamed of being? When Brendan was managing 2 companies, I don't know if I mentioned this, CTO of 2 different companies, business trips, then he's attending family gatherings and dinners and family trips. He had no time for himself, no new time to carve out specifically. Now, the thing about the bulletproof body method, this is my system that I'm going to be walking you guys through, is the question is, how do you actually work with what you have, the cards you're currently dealt with? Because if you're waiting magically on the day that your schedule clears up and you're a high value dude, you're working really hard, you're managing your business, you're managing your family, you're managing your relationships, that time doesn't just magically get created. And it's a byproduct of how driven you are. And then number 3 reason I hate these fitness trends is they make you feel shitty about yourself, right? The minute you say no to something, let's say no bread, no dairy, no cake, no alcohol, no, all the joys of life, remember? All of a sudden you open up guilt. And here's the danger. We all have cravings in life. We always have special events, weddings, birthdays, things to celebrate. And when we have cravings, what's the only thing holding us back from giving in? Willpower. And when that willpower, when you grind that stone down, eventually there's nothing left to hold you. You give in, and then you feel guilty. When you feel guilty, you feel bad about yourself. You're making emotional decisions. You start giving up because you say, oh, screw it. You ever been there? You start losing momentum, and then you start self-sabotaging. So now you might be thinking, well, so what is Iman getting at? Like, I'm a human. I want to eat the burger, but I don't understand where you're going here. Hold on. Just parking lot that. The final bonus is shitty foods just make you feel shitty. Right? They make you feel bad. So you want it, but then it makes you feel bad. It's like a cigarette addiction. So now you're probably sitting here thinking, wait, so being restrictive with my diet and eating perfectly clean, that's unsustainable because I'm not going to socialize. But then also doing endless amounts of cardio takes too long. I don't have the time for it. But then indulging on my favorite foods when I say screw all those things makes me feel shitty. So I'm kind of trapped. But actually, this is the moment you ask yourself a question. The real question you ask is, how can I continue to burn fat and enjoy the process without taking any more time? None of you have ever asked this question. You know why? Because you keep buying into these BS diets and fitness trends that don't feel like you can ask yourself the question from within. Because if you can continue to burn fat and enjoy the process without taking more time, and you enjoy it, well then you love the journey of progress to go from 250 to 200. Well then obviously once you hit 200, let's say that's your goal, you're going to have so much, it's even easier to stay there. You see, what we all forget is in the realm of body transformation, we all have an end goal. If I ask you, what's your dream body? You're not going to say, I don't know. I'm never satisfied. No, you have an image in your head. And it might be Zac Efron and Baywatch like it was for me. But whatever it is, it's quantifiable, it's measurable, and there is a concrete gap between you and them. Here's the good news. The hardest part about getting from where you are to where you want to go is the progress, is paying back the debt. Now, if you ask this question and you find the answer, then once you get there, you can stay there because maintaining weight is much easier than losing it, right? You here with me so far? And you know this because you've been able to maintain your weight. You've been overweight, tired, and lethargic. You've been doing all these things, which is a good thing, right? So you understand. So what's the solution here? Food. Okay, what does that mean? So exercise, biking, running, all these things. It depends on your schedule. It takes time. But even the busiest people on the planet have to eat. So what we did with Brendan specifically is we had to understand the criteria of how quickly did he want to get here? How quickly did he want to go from this to this? He told me, hey, as long as it's sustainable and I'm not hungry and I can enjoy the process, let's go. So I said, okay, great. We did a DEXA scan. We did a body fat scan. We said, okay, 2 pounds of fat is where we'll start every single week, and we're going to just tweak the foods you're already eating. And actually, it was very effective. So let me show you exactly what happened. But first, we have to reverse. And I got to make sure we're all on the same page, because if you've done restrictive diets or fat trends, probably none of you actually know how fat loss works, just by definition of you making your life so much harder than it has to be. If you're a business owner or a professional, we have to agree on what's the criteria of success. If we don't even agree on what it takes to get from this to this, or what happened to get from this to this, then already we're not going to win. Okay? The unit of measurement of success is fat and muscle. Okay? This guy lost 25 pounds of fat. 25. All in different areas. Okay? And he gained about 5-6 pounds of muscle. All right? So that's the unit of success. Now, you might think you need to do cardio, restrictive diets, eat veggies all day. And listen, those things work, right? No sugar, keto, intermittent fasting, 1 meal a day. They all work. And we have evidence to show it. That's not what I'm arguing for. It just doesn't work for you. Look, this guy, this professor, he was eating Twinkies all day long, and he lost 27 pounds. This guy just ate McDonald's for 6 months. He lost 56 pounds. So obviously there's something about fat loss here that's interesting, right? How does this guy eat Twinkies? That definitely has sugar. How does this guy have McDonald's? That definitely is not keto. But I also know people that lost weight on sugar. No sugar. I also know people that lost weight on keto. I might have lost weight on keto. Intermittent fasting, 1 meal a day, carnivore diet. How are all these different systems yielding the same results, but they're literally contradicting one another? So first we got to understand, how does fat loss work? And also, you got to ask yourself the question, when I've done one of these in the past, and let's say I did keto, which meant I couldn't have carbs. When I did keto, I lost 3 pounds in a week. Did you ever ask yourself the question, why did I lose 3 pounds? Why didn't I lose 5 pounds? Just like in business, we have key performance indicators. Life is not binary. It's not on or off. You don't do keto and then lose 3 pounds, right? There's something in the background that dictated why you lost 3 instead of 4, right? And it's all a performance game. So what is that? What is our metric of success? The metric of success is calories. So when you recognize that our bodies are literally the most performant machines on the planet, and we ourselves just don't know how to regulate them, it's like you have a Formula One race car and you have no team that's competent, right? So when you have excess fat on you, what happens is calories, what you eat, they're energy. And so when you eat the food, any extra food your body cannot use, it saves for another day. It's a very smart system. So if we want to eliminate fat, I basically am saying, hey, Brendan's body, I'm going to give you less than you need, and it's going to have to eat itself to look like this. This is a natural sculpting. And a really good number to keep in mind is 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories. This is a critical number and what's going to make this whole process so simple. So now you might be thinking, oh, so when I lost 3 pounds on keto, I must have had 3,500 times 3. I don't know, 10,000, 11,000 calories. I ate 11,000 calories less in keto. You're right. Because the thing you removed, which was carbs, must have had 11,000 calories in it, and you removed it. Or someone else might say, oh, I did intermittent fasting, and all of a sudden I lost 2 pounds the first week, or I lost 20 pounds in total. So, okay, so what is intermittent fasting? You lowered the window of how much you could eat. Turns out you were eating like an absolute animal from the hours of 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. You would eat like 3 Hershey's bars. Now you only eat till 7, so you never give yourself the chance to. Okay, that makes sense. Or this guy eating McDonald's, he must have been in a very big calorie deficit, eating burgers, but under his maintenance calories. Same with this Twinkies guy. Oh, I didn't have sugar. Turns out the most dense food I ate, which was candy, had sugar in it. So when I removed sugar, I didn't have candy, and so I didn't have all those calories. These all work, and it's great, right? And you obviously have the results to show for it. But you know the other result we have to show for it? You've always gained the weight back. So there has to be a mechanism. You can't get around this. You have to be in a 3,500 calorie deficit to lose a pound. But if it's not going to be from one of these strategies, because none of this stuff works, because it takes time, it's restrictive, it's unsustainable, then what's actually going to work? All right, I'm going to ask you guys a little quiz. Quiz time. Are almonds good foods? Is ice cream bad for you? Almonds, ice cream, which one do you guys pick? Let me break down some numbers for you now that we have context. This many almonds, I literally counted this many almonds, is 347 calories, 30 grams of fat, and 12 grams of protein. This much ice cream is 150 calories and 30 grams of protein. In other words, this much ice cream, a pint of ice cream, is less than half the calories, more than twice the protein, and 100 times the volume. I'm going to say that again. A pint of ice cream is less than half the calories of the almonds, more than twice the protein, and 100 times the volume. How can I say that? Try to fill up a pint of almonds, right? If 50 almonds is 347 calories, it's going to fill the bottom of this pint lid. Okay, another question, healthy and unhealthy. Are avocados healthy? Are burgers unhealthy? I'm going to answer that with a little bit of a story. So when I did my first fitness trend, it was in 2018, and it was a spin class. So everyone was doing these cycling for like 40 minutes. We were killing ourselves for like an hour. 40 minutes to an hour. I was sweating like a dog, and I hated it because I'd much rather lift. But I had limited amount of time. I was working a software engineering job. And so I chose to do the cardio because cardio helps you lose weight, right? I didn't know about calorie deficit. And then after the workout, my office had these bowls of almonds, and almonds are very healthy. So I'd have a whole massive cereal bowl of almonds, and I feel, good about myself. 6 months goes by, and I don't really see any progress in the mirror, but I stick to it because when you tell me something, I'm going to do it. I'm one of those guys. I had a lot of discipline, a lot of willpower. And then when I stepped on the scale, I had gained a pound. And I was like, wait, what the fuck? Sorry, didn't mean to swear. It's YouTube. And so I needed to investigate what happened. So I got an Apple Watch because I knew something about calories, right? I knew you had to be in a calorie deficit. Got an Apple Watch. Turns out, in the spin class, I burned 500 calories on average. I did an average across 5 days. Pretty consistent. The bowl of almonds, I bought a food weight scale. I measured it at my work, and it was 750 calories. So in 3 minutes, I was undoing all the great work that I thought I did the last 45 minutes on an uninformed decision. And in this case, it reminded me, taught me a very valuable lesson. In the context of sustainable body transformation, in this context, guys, the definition of healthy is not almonds. It's not organic food. It's not Ayurvedic food. It's not no sugar food. It's not any of those things. That was the source of my misery. I felt like something was wrong with me. I felt like something was wrong with my body. In the context of sustainable body transformation, the definition of healthy foods is the foods that you enjoy that allow you to consistently hit your calorie deficit target. All right? Now, I'm going to take it back to what happened with Brendan. Look at this. This is a salad. It's a high-fat Caesar salad. Normally very healthy. 850 calories, 8 grams of protein. Now, if I asked you, hey, how healthy is honey barbecue chicken, mac and cheese? You might say that's terrible for you. But this pulls 520 calories and 60 grams of protein. So now I hope you can start to see your mind is turning as you start to see, how do you eat the right way? Okay? So first of all, we got to understand everyone's body is different and every engine runs on a different rate. So what I did with Brendan is we ran some tests on him, and we found out that for Brendan to lose 2 pounds of fat consistently and still have the energy, not feel hungry, and pack on lean muscle, keep in mind, you still want those 3 criteria, he had to have these numbers. 2,300 calories, so the unit of energy, and then under the hood, 230 grams of protein, 173 grams of carbs, 77 grams of fat. Now, you can do this on your own if you go to one of these calorie calculators, calculator.net. You can put in your age, your gender, your height, your weight, and your activity level, and it will spit out some guesstimate of how many calories you should be eating a day. Now, obviously, because I was hands-on with Brendan, we were able to get to that number really fast and just get to work right away. So the fun part about this now is it's now a game. So now we just got to fill in this number. Can we fill in this calories and protein if we're eating sugar? Can we fill in this if we're having carbs? Can we hit these numbers with dairy? You betcha, right? And all of a sudden, it really changed the game for Brendan when I told him this. And so I gave him a couple different strategies. The first strategy we used with Brendan, because he was always hungry when he tried to starve himself in the past. He would literally do endless amounts of cardio and eat nothing, is I introduced this concept of high volume eating. So just like in the process where I told you about the pint of ice cream versus the almonds, you might say, wait, how does the ice cream work? We'll talk about that later. There's a second method called the substitute method. But in the context of volume eating, a pint of ice cream is way more filling than a handful of almonds, right? And you realize not all calories are created the same. There's literally high volume, low calorie foods, and there is low volume, high calorie foods. Almonds, one of the densest foods on the planet. If you're eating almonds telling yourself, hey, that has a lot of protein, you're keeping yourself stuck. So this is an example of one thing we set up for Brendan. Fruit, very high volume. Popcorn, very high volume, low calories. We got different types of vegetables, protein pancakes, and then as you can see here, classic example on the left, nuts, peanuts specifically. And there's a whole separate book I have for you guys, completely free, on high volume eating and the most low calorie, high volume foods in the link below. You'll be able to join my free community and get access to all the courses and resources. And the second strategy, which is a combination of volume eating, and it takes it one step further, is the substitute method. So what is the substitute method? Look at all these things. Orange chicken, crispy orange chicken, spicy wraps. This is the stuff that you guys thought you couldn't have. But if I told you how much protein and calories are in this stuff, you'd say it's impossible. There's no way. So I want to take you to a separate little presentation that walks you through the question of what makes a burger unhealthy. We got to understand, right? Things aren't just healthy, unhealthy. It's contextual. It's a sliding scale, right? So when I look at a burger in this example is 715 calories for one burger with one patty, 23 grams of protein. Remember, healthy. Keep in mind, we did the quiz. What makes things healthy? What makes things unhealthy? In the context of what we agreed on, I'm trying to find it. In our context, healthy means the foods that you can enjoy that allow you to consistently hit your calorie deficit target. Okay, now let's look at this thing. If we're going to say whether this burger is healthy or not, we have to look at this. Calories and the protein, all right? And specifically, what makes a burger have these calories and protein? We got to look within it. We're not looking at the meal anymore. We're looking at what it constitutes the meal. So the ingredients. See, we're going one step lower. Okay, if the burger bun on average, I've done averages for all this, 250 calories for the bun, 5 calories for the lettuce. Oh, that's nothing. You can have like 4 or 5 of these lettuces. 280 calories, 23 grams of fat, 19 grams of protein for one patty of 80-20 20 ground beef. That's the standard. Cheese, 60 calories, or actually more like 120. You get 2 slices for 9 grams of fat, 8 grams of protein. You got your Thousand Island dressing from In-N-Out or wherever, right? McDonald's, Burger King. They all have their killer sauces. That's about 715 calories, 23 grams of protein. Actually, 775 now that I upped the cheese. So when I looked at something like this, because Brendan loved burgers, I immediately dissected it and I said, okay, well, this is pretty dense. We could do better here. We can do better here. And we can do better here on the sauce. So what does that look like? When we actually do the substitute method, we're not changing the integrity of the burger. A burger has to be a burger. A burger needs a bun, needs a patty, needs cheese, and needs sauce. If I asked you, do you like burgers? You'll say yes. I'll say, if I took the buns off, would you call that a burger? You'd say no. Right? Okay. So we take the bun and we can swap it with a keto bun. All of a sudden, 250 becomes 50. Lettuce is lettuce. You might even add a couple frickin' amounts for like 20 calories, right? That's a lot of volume. Now, all of a sudden, the patty, instead of it being 80-20, we can get 96-4. All we're doing with the patty is removing the fat. So what's left is fewer calories. 280 now becomes 140. Literally, we could have 2 patties. And instead of it being 19 grams of protein, it's 24. So we're literally lowering the calories and increasing the protein. Cheese, now we can get fat-free cheddar cheese. And you might already be thinking, wait, this is not going to taste great. Hang tight. I just want to show you how far we can take this thing and that there's levers you've never thought about. You've never opened up a burger like this. And 0-calorie Thousand Island dressing. There's tons of brands that have 0-calorie sauces or low-calorie sauces, or you can make your own with cottage cheese blended. What we're left with is 285 calories and 42 grams of protein. So stack these two up. You get 775 calories, 27 grams of protein, or a burger for 285 calories, 42 grams of protein. Another way to do it, and this is really a fun game I like to play, really emphasize what we can do here is have 2 burgers. So the whole notion of, hey, I'm on a diet, it's restrictive, and I'm hungry, and I can't have my favorite foods. Here's a classic example of Brendan being able to have twice as much food for less calories and 3 times the protein. And you know the best part about this? The quality of what's in this burger versus this one, he has more energy in the day. He has more protein. He's feeling satiated. He's not as hungry. He's not feeling like trash and tired at the end of the day because it's oily and greasy. Now, the point of this, especially if you're a business owner, is to understand I'm just introducing the concept of leverage here. You can crank this up and down as much as you like now. That's what I was telling Brendan. You can have 3 burgers. Okay, you don't have to do exactly this swap, but which one do you want to do? And we just keep having the conversation of what's the lowest hanging fruit, densest thing in the foods you already like that we can do healthy swaps for. And what actually happens when you do the substitute method like that long enough? Well, eventually we find what is every person's killer favorite item that they can eat every single day that tastes like a cheat meal that actually hits their goals. So Brendan came to me and he said, hey, I love pasta. Can't get enough of it. So what we did is we found and cultivated his own custom high protein, creamy mozzarella chicken pasta. This thing looks so good. 250 grams of chicken breast, 150 grams of lentil pasta, 40 grams of fat-free cheese to really melt it all in. And even though cheese is normally packed with fat and pasta is packed with carbs, with the substitute method and high volume eating stacked, now we had over 100 grams of protein in total. So now the conversation, instead of what normally would be, oh, coach, I caved, I had pasta. It's, hey, you didn't hit your protein goals yesterday. Did you make sure to have your pasta? And all of a sudden, we're having more fun with it. And so this is how you reframe the whole conversation. And not only allows you to lose the fat with a calorie goal, but when you want to pack on muscle, you also got to hit your protein goal. And when you do just those, that's when you can have a transformation like this. That's when you don't only lose the weight, you look great, which is ultimately the real goal any of us want too. Right? The weight's just one way to measure that. And he feels better. And then the final thing that's so great about this whole process is, who said carbs are bad? In fact, the mechanism of how you lift more is with glycogen. Glycogen is stored sugar and energy, glucose, in your muscles. When you lift weights, you use glucose as a source of energy. Where do you get glucose? You get glucose from sugars and carbs. So if you're keto, if you don't have any sugar, if you don't eat a lot of these things, you restrict yourself, your training performance goes down. When your training performance goes down, you lose muscle. When you're forcing your body to eat itself in a calorie deficit and your training performance is subpar, you will lose weight and look like shit at the end of it because you have no muscle to show for it. Now, I assert most of us dudes that want to have the V-taper want to maximize muscle potential while we cut the fat. So that's why using carbs is actually extremely important when we use it intentionally. So on the days Brendan would train, we would take his carbs all the way up to 300 grams and we'd put it around his training time. So he would have stuff like the pizza and the other carbs that he wanted around his training. And he would hit personal records every time. In fact, one time, and we can get into this in a separate point, the impact of not only just in your gym, but how that makes a ripple effect in the rest of your life. When you redefine the criteria of success, the context changes. Now, you don't have cravings, you fight yourself, you give in, you feel guilty, you give up, and then you have more cravings and you fall out of the loop. Now, you have cravings, we embrace it, we plan around it. We start to create the meals that are the healthiest alternatives with the substitute method and high volume. You actually eat them, and then you have your favorite foods around your training time, and you get stronger. So you're getting muscle eating your favorite foods. It all comes down to your plan. So this is what's possible in 90 days. At the beginning of this video, I said, if you're someone that is lacking in discipline, that loves eating your favorite foods, but struggles to balance that with a sustainable lifestyle transformation in the mirror and how you feel, I want to show you this is what's happened with Brendan in 90 days. And we kept having this conversation with him until we found out all his favorite foods he loves. We reframed all of them to be the healthy alternatives, and we planned it in the schedule that was more packed than anyone else I know. And now he's able to stay and look like this for over a year now. Over 1 year now since this transformation, right? And he's ready to tackle on the world. He's excited to go to the gym. And the best part is it only took 90 days to get him kickstarted. Now that you know how that works, if you guys want to jump on a one-on-one, see how this coaching can apply to your life, then click the link below. We can hop on a call with me or someone on my team. And there's also a link to join my free community. See how you can do a transformation like this in a community of other like-minded people. And I'll see you guys on the other side. All right. Peace.